Like promised, here's the hunter tier list for season 22. Also, before we get into the ranking, I would like to mention that I rated all the hunters based on my gameplay experience, so it could be that other people might rank certain hunters different, since every hunter can be played in a different way. And yeah, that's it. Let's start with Hellember. Hellember sadly comes into the C tier. The main problem when playing him is his terrible early chase. He does not have anything to help him, except the Phantom. But his Phantom is just most of the times only used for either looping or camping, and rarely useful in chase. He is also one of the slowest hunter in the game, so catching a survivor that keeps creating distance to him isn't easy. But if Leo manages to chair a survivor, he has a chance to snowball the game. When camping and the rescuer is coming, he can simply use his Phantom combo to insta-down the survivor. Sadly, this combo can be still countered if the survivor plays smart. When coming to the puppets, they are pretty much outside of the free map teleports useless. He can use them for cipher pressure, but using overall the souls on the puppets is just dumb, since they can be paused so easily. There is also this puppet attack teleport trick, but this trick is just way too hard to successfully pull off. Fun fact: NetEase even shadow nerfed this trick on his first Phantom, so he can just do it with his second puppet. Joker is easy to rank, he is C tier. The reason why I placed him in C tier is obvious: he gets countered against every stunner, his skill can be easily cancelled by the slightest stun. And that's not it, his rocket dash will also be cancelled by a single pixel of a wall, or by dead heart. Smiley has just his rocket dash, but that's not enough for the current meta. He has no map or cipher pressure, his chase is also terrible. Smiley is not good in anything, he is just like a snail who gets kited the full match. He is currently unplayable. B spot for Ripper. Ripper has pretty much the same problems like Smiley, the stuns. The stuns will reset his invisibility back to 17 seconds of waiting time. Jokes aside, in my view, Jack's early chase ability is kinda bad, but still better than Leo's and Joker's one. While they rely on Blink, Ripper doesn't actually need it. Foggy Blade makes up for it. His skill allows him to do range attacks and also deal damage to the survivor's trough walls. Combined with Peeper looping will be very deadly for the survivors. Body blocking against him is also very dangerous. If we go back to his invisibility skill, you get pretty much less value out of it, since almost any actions will trigger its cooldown. But in case you're able to keep it active, you can cause a lot of confusion with your mind games, that will result often for free hits. Ripper is in the current meta not the best hunter to pick, but if you manage to hit almost all of your Foggy Blades, you will have a good chance winning most matches. Gamekeeper is in most cases a B tier. When coming to Bane, he is pretty hard to rate, since his strengths vary a lot on the map you are playing on, and who the survivors are. Gamekeeper is overall strong on open maps and also counters a lot of open looping areas. His early chase is pretty similar to Ripper. If he manages to land some good hooks, then he has a chance to turn the game to his favor. If we arrive at the camping strategies, Gamekeeper has some good tricks on his sleeve. Either you put a trap somewhere and pull a survivor in it, or you just pull the survivor away from the rocket chair in last second. About the bear traps, they aren't as broken as the one in Dead by Daylight, but they do their job well at blocking ciphers or pallets.
What the dog doing?
Most survivors rarely pay attention at the ground, so it might happen that some survivors even run into it. He is in my sight a balanced character, and doesn't really need any huge changes. This is just a recommendation, but in case you want to play him, make sure there is no magician and entomologist present. Soul Weaver is a solid A tier hunter. Violetta is currently an underrated character, but not weak in any form. She is similar like Wu Chang and starts pretty weak, but with more presence, her strength will increase significantly. She is a hunter that profits if the match takes a long time to finish. Her webs can turn the whole map into a minefield, if not taken care of them. Violetta can reuse those placed webs on the looping spots, and make kiting for the survivors almost impossible. Soul Weaver is also capable of shooting a web projectile at the survivors, damaging them as well as slowing them down. This ability is perfect for punishing survivors who will make obvious moves, and it also helps insta-downing the survivor after the last cipher pop. Besides those amazing abilities, Soul Weaver also owns the ability to ignore any harassers completely, by just putting the survivor into a cocoon. She also can't be juked because of her huge model. Violetta is a hunter that is pretty strong if played correctly. but her lack of cipher pressure as well as her bad early game make her just A tier. Believe it or not, but Geisha is A tier. When the meta is all about distance, then Michiko is the best counter for it. She doesn't care about distance, since she can close the gap between her and the survivor real quick. Her dashes are just perfect for open looping areas, they guarantee hits most of the times. Geisha has overall good chase, and some map pressure, but there are still some problems with her. Michiko suffers a lot against harassers, pallets, and jukes. Those seem to be a lot of weaknesses, right? But that's actually not the case. Outside of the harassment problem, players can actually work or improve against jukes or pallet campers, and get rid of these problems. In my view, Geisha can be a real monster in the right hands. She can destroy your kite, if she is able to make some good peak dashes. But like any other hunter, she comes with some weaknesses that need to be worked on. Like Gamekeeper, Feaster is also B tier. Like mentioned before, characters like Leo has no chase ability, and that applies on Feaster too. He is basically a snail, and can be kited forever, if you throw every pallet down. Feaster's chase completely depends on his tentacle placement. If placed correctly, Feaster can cut whole looping areas off and force the survivor to go a different way. If that happens, Feaster gets often a chance to hit the survivors. But in case you're playing against a smart survivor, they will either bait for a tentacle hit, or just do a 360 around them.
Boy!
About camping with the tentacle, it's all about mind games, and who is gonna make the first move. Either the survivor is able to bait you to use the tentacle, or they just risk the rescue. But to be honest, patient Feaster players aren't easy to bait, so yeah, have fun with the rescue. Overall, I would say Feaster is good on open small maps. He can easily track down survivors with his tentacles, but the fact that he gets completely clapped by any survivors who can create distance just leaves some bad spots on him. Same tier for Wu Chang. I'm being honest, playing Wu Chang is like playing casino, either you win, or you lose, and that's basically his early game. Not like others, Wu Chang needs at the beginning a perfect umbrella teleport, to have actually a chance at winning the game. If you fail the teleport, you will get kited for more than a minute, and end up losing, or tying the game. If you are able to do a perfect teleport, you will get for sure a free hit, and the chase will end most of the times real quick, and that's very important. As Wu Chang, you also need to know exactly all spawn points, or the chances of failing the teleports might increase. His skills and forms are most of the times pretty situational. For camping is the white guard better, and for chasing the black guard. But you can still use the white one for that. About Wu Chang overall, I can just say he is high risk, high reward. You need to get presence as fast as possible with him, or he will be just a mad eyes with teleport. He is a hunter that can be played on all maps, regardless how big they are. Photographer is a very squishy hunter that can be played in different ways. Either you focus on the camera world, with the survivor copies, or you just chase them normally. But I must say, both ways to play him are just terrible. It's not like Joseph can do something about it, but his overall chase potential is shit. He depends completely on blank. If we take a look at the camera world, it's great at preventing cipher rush, and gives photographer a possibility to jump scare. But jump scares just work against newer players. Older players will either just stay completely in the camera world and decode there, or just check the world regularly for him. Back to the photo world, since Joseph deals 1,5 damage, he can injure those survivor copies, and then leave them, making the survivors in the real world one shot for him. Or, you can also down the real survivors by chairing the copy. But again, you receive nothing from doing that, because survivors will hide and get fully healed up by others. You really need to be lucky to be able to find the downed survivor. There is also the time jump skill. It's in my view useless, outside of finding survivors with it. You can use it for looping, but most survivors aren't dumb, so if they see or hear you using that skill, they will either run to the next area, or just go to a close pallet or a window. I have a simple opinion on him. Joseph's